today I'd like to show you how to make a cardstock deck. It works just like a paint deck. You have all of your colors for, say, all the reds together, all the blues, or all the greens together, in my case from dark to light. And these are all the different types of cardstock that I keep. I keep Stampin' Up some of the new colors and older colors, not all the older colors, but some of them. I also use paper tray ink cardstock, and you could do this with any type of cardstock or paper that you use. This is my old one that I have used for a few years now, and it's gotten a little beat up and it needs updating since we have some newer colors or old colors that have come back. And here's the reason why I do this. If I have a piece of designer paper that I want to match, I can take the cardstock deck and just lay it down across the paper and figure out what colors match it. If I want a red or blue or green, it's easy to see. So I'm going to take the red here and I want to see what matches that red stripe. So I just move the deck along that red stripe until I get to a color that matches, and it looks like Riding Hood red is the best red for this particular paper. Now if I have another color in there that I want to match, I just do the same thing, like the yellow. I'm moving the yellow along and I get down to So Saffron, and that's a pretty good match. But I finally decided that Harvest Gold, which is a paper tray ink color, is probably going to be the best choice. Same thing with the blue. Keep trying different blues. Enchanted Evening is not bad, but maybe there's something a little better, not quite navy. Looks like a good choice. So I just use it that way to match up colors and ink if I happen to have the inks. Now I'm also going to show you how to create the computer version, but I'm also going to show you how to do one without the computer. So if you want to do a really quick version that doesn't have the words typed but handwritten, we can do that as well. No matter how you do it, one of the first things you have to do though is pull out your cardstock and get samples of each color. So I'm pulling my cardstock out. I keep it organized in a drawer. So here's my drawers, and they already have labels on them. This is part of the Brights collection from Stampin' Up. And what I'm going to do then is pull swatches from the drawer, just some scraps, and cut little strips. If I don't have a scrap, then I'll have to cut something out of a whole piece. I want it to be sure it's at least about 3 inches wide to cover my full card, and then a half to 5/8 of an inch wide, or whatever width you want yours to be, depending on how much paper you have. And now I need to write the colors on there, so I'll know what they are when I go to organize them. And I'm just doing quick abbreviations. I know that turquoise is tempting turquoise, so I don't really have to write down the whole thing. And again, I can just do some really quick names, or I can write out the whole name, just as long as I know what they are when I go to organize them and put them on the pages of the cardstock deck. This one happens to be Bermuda Bay, and I didn't really have a way of abbreviating that, so I just wrote the whole thing out, and real red so I don't get it confused with some of the other reds. I organize them by all the reds together, all the blues together, all the greens together. And then I go to my computer, and I will be sharing these files with you where you can type in the names. I started the reds with the darkest one, Bravo Burgundy, and then I added a paper tray ink color, Scarlet Jewel, and then I just continue down through the list. I print it out, and it prints 3 columns per page, so I'm going to cut them at 2 3/4 of an inch over, and you'll get the first 2 columns, and then the last one you'll have to trim just a little bit off to keep it to the 2 3/4 inch going across. And with each strip cut, then I just add my colors, and I'm putting them on here, just laying them on here to make sure I haven't missed anything. So before I start gluing down all these little strips I've cut, I want to make sure that I haven't missed any on my printed copy. I'm gluing them down. Use whatever kind of adhesive you like. Just want to make sure that the strip goes all the way across the cardstock, or across the piece of white cardstock. That's important because you want to be sure you can see those far edges when you're laying this against paper. Some of mine are a little bit too wide, and I just trim them down manually. And I'm putting them down with the words that I hand wrote face down, so I'm not seeing my handwriting there, since I have the typed text. Continuing all the way up, you can organize from light to dark or dark to light, whichever way you want to do it. And when you get them done, then you just trim off all those extra edges with a paper trimmer or with scissors. And now you have a nice, neat organization of all the reds, and I even have some of the dark pinks on there, and here's my neutrals and greens. I had so many blues, I did 2 sheets of blue, more aquas and more true blues. So you can organize them however you want to. What's the easiest way for you? Now here, let me show you how to do this without using the computer. If you don't want to type them in, all you need is to take all your little strips of paper that you cut and make sure you put them on there straight. I'm using the grid mat to do that. Leave a little space at the top for attaching this to a jump ring. And I'm just organizing, again, colors, in this case yellows, dark to light. And I'm not going to do all my yellows, I'm just going to do a few so you can get the idea of what I'm doing. And you can actually make the paper strips a little bit wider because you're not going to have to take up space for the typed words. And I'll write my names on each strip. So I have More Mustard, Summer Sunrise, which is a paper tray ink color, Harvest Gold, also a paper tray ink color, and you could use basil or whatever cardstock that you use, and so saffron. And then I'm going to trim these down. In this case I'm using scissors, you could use a paper trimmer. And it'll give you the same kind of effect without worrying with the computer. So however you want to do it, if you want them typed or you want them handwritten, you can still get the same effect either way. No matter how you do them, you will still need to put a grommet in the top. Whenever I've done these, I've used whatever grommets I had on hand. These are some older ones from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to position them 3/8 of an inch over and 3/8 of an inch down in the upper left corner of each of the cards. I'm using the crocodile to punch my hole and also to set the grommets. And then I'll attach all of these with a ring to keep them together. And there we go, and I just do that for each of the pages. And here's my finished cardstock deck. Please stop by my blog and you can find the files there for downloading if you would like to do the computer version. They're in Microsoft Word and you can make adjustments however you need to for the colors that you have.